Hey, how's it going, everybody? It is time for the Fort Polk Podcast, and we are going to be talking about the integrated personnel and pay system for the Army, or as it's also known as IPPS-A. I'm Jeff England, and we're about to begin. Hey, how's it going, everybody? I'm Jeff England. Thanks for tuning in, and this is the Fort Polk Podcast. I'm here with the people that's taking care of IPPS-A, the Integrated Personnel and Pay System for the Army. Lieutenant Flores, how would you like to introduce everybody, all of your guests and all of your friends that are here helping out?
Hi, so we'll go ahead and introduce ourselves. I'm Lieutenant Flores. I'm the IPPS-A OIC.
I am Sergeant First Class John Gonzalez. I'm the IPPS-A NCOIC.
I'm Sergeant Jackson, and I'm the IPPS-A soldier. Well, specialist.
The IPPS-A soldier.
Specialist.
The one that didn't want to talk.
The newest addition to our team.
All right. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what the IPPS-A is and explain it exactly what it is.
Yeah, so IPPS-A is kind of what you're saying, the Integrated Personnel and Pay System - Army. Essentially, it is this one system where it combines 40 plus HR systems that the Army's currently using into one to allow soldiers, commanders, all leaders and supervisors to have one platform to see their soldiers' records, update them, and submit any actions, awards, leave forms.
So it's Big Brother's way of keeping his eye on you.
Pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah. But that's a good thing to do because, it's really hard to make sure that the soldier or military member in general, I imagine that there is more than just the Army. So I imagine that there's other models for other branches. So this one is for Army, and that's what the A stands for. But I'm sure that it's very difficult to keep track of all of the awards and accomplishments, and to make sure that each soldier is getting the recognition and help that's needed to make that next stripe or that next bar or leaf or bird or star.
Right, like right now, evaluations, that's done on the evaluation entry system. If a commander wants to check their readiness in regards to medical standpoint, that's on MediPros. So there's a lot of different systems that they're having to visit right now. They're wanting to make sure they didn't miss a leave form or an award. That might be something that was given just straight to their hand or through email. And we know you can always very easy to miss some emails. So
yeah, nothing
right.
is worse than it's like, but I got an achievement medal. Where is it? It's not on my records. So now the leaders and people have a way to go back and search all the records. So how or who actually does all of the reviews and approving and stuff, Sergeant Gonzalez?
In IPPS-A, it's going to be the Battalion S1 pool. So many of the documents are going to go through the Battalion S1 pool, and the Battalion S1 is going to determine which way the document is going to be going. There's going to be a workflow attached to it. That's a big moving piece that the S1s are going to have to do before go live. They're going to have to put in a lot of work, making sure the workflows are established. So each individual packet has a path, if you will, to where it's going to go, where it's going to end up at.
So this is basically still in beta right now.
Technically.
Yeah, technically. So how many systems are actually involved in IPPS-A?
If you just take your admin systems, for example, for your MLPO, your iPerms, your data store, all admin systems, those are the ones that are going to go away. All the other items like MedPros, DTMS, those items are still going to be standing, but they're just going to feed IPPS-A. So to answer your question, the HR systems are the ones that are going to be taken offline.
Oh, nice. So why is this such a good thing? What are some of the good things that can come out of this?
I think transparency. Transparency is going to be the biggest takeaway from here. Commanders can have their readiness metrics at their fingertips. They can configure their dashboard, according to their higher command, however they want to present things, and set it up so they can see their formations as they want to see it. Also, at the soldier level, a soldier will be able to submit his or her leave form and then be able to see on their smartphone where it's at in the system. If the S1 has it, if the commander has it, if it's been kicked back for a reason, the reason will be on the website or on their smartphone, so that they know what they need to submit or what's wrong with their
Now, so you mentioned the cell phone. Is it an app, or is it just going to be a website that you can reach on the phone?
It's going to be an app and on the website.
Oh, wow, that's cool. So your leave form will actually be in IPPS-A, right?
Yes.
So you won't have to carry around the big old piece of paper, all your leave forms with you.
The DA31 is going to be going away. It's going to be a PAR.
Nice.
41A7s are going to be going away. It's going to be integrated into the PAR document.
Nice. So no more having to carry around the leave paperwork. Louisiana has an app also that you can do your driver's license and your hunting license, and they're working on getting other forms on there. So because everyone carries their phone with you, and not everybody carries their wallet, or they forget their wallet more than they forget their phone, or vice versa. Or I can't go anywhere without my phone.
Right. And like another example, so like let's say someone's submitting an emergency leave form and the commander is TDY, and so they can't get access to a government computer to sign in really easily. Well, from their CAC-enabled phone, their government cell phone, they can just sign the leave form then and there. So the easiness of IPPS-A is going to be completely transformative.
So let's hope that there's no more AWOLs.
Right.
I hate to have to go out. It's like, you are absent without leave right now. No, I have it in there. He just didn't sign it. That means you didn't have it. So you're going to be able to access your records all the time, 24/7. Yep. And you can check your records as they're submitted, where an item is in the submission line. I mean, you could follow it from beginning to end. So the good things that I can see out of that is people have told me in the past when I've had paperwork in, it's like, oh no, we're working on it. We're working on it. It's just sitting there. It's just sitting. No, it's because of you. You did not sign the paper. Moving on. So what about the processing time, Specialist Jackson?
I think all actions have a different time frame. As for processing, like awards may take, like MSMs or LMs, or they may take longer than ARCOMs.
But overall, it should be
be pretty fast.
Yeah, so it should be faster than just handwriting everything.
Yeah, it'll speed it up definitely for sure, because there's also a time frame depending on what type of action it is. If it's not signed at that level, it's going to automatically kick it back and kind of like ding.
And you get a notification.
Right.
Cool.
Like, you didn't action on this fast enough. So
it's like the things are moving so fast today. I actually stand in front of the microwave trying to cook something. It's like, come on, I ain't got all minute.
Waiting for something to defrost.
Yeah, it's like, have you seen the instructions to microwave a Pop-Tart? It's like microwave for 3 seconds. It's like, oh, geez, put it in there for 4. Oh no, it's overcooked. Bite into it's like a lava cake. Like, oh, my mouth.
Everything's at Wi-Fi now. I saw a lawnmower with Wi-Fi capabilities. I'm like, what do you need Wi-Fi in your lawnmower?
Well, the remote controlled lawnmowers. It's like, come on, that was the only exercise I got. Like, now I'm just sitting on the front porch. So well, we all know how what we have to do for commanders. We have to make it nice and easy. We have to spoon feed everybody and stuff like that. So how easy is it for commanders and for people that actually have to follow along and do all the paperwork?
For commanders, there's a actual training for the commanders, and it shows them how to set up their dashboard. In IPPS-A, they're called tiles, so the commander can go in there and modify his or her dashboard to what they need, what they action the most. So they want to see their readiness or their strength dashboard, and they can manipulate it to. It's like a spreadsheet. I can move the columns from on A or B or C or what have you.
So you'll be able to see. It's like, okay, I've already got 2 mechanics. I need somebody to work on a computer. So you got manning and talent management, and this should be very helpful. Helpful. So the individual, like the regular soldier that needs to check on their paperwork and all that stuff, do they still need a CAC-enabled phone, or can they do that on their own?
They'll be able to download the certificates. When they download the app, there's a how-to guide on how to enable the certificates on your smartphone, be it an iPhone or Android. And there's different processes for both operating systems. But it's pretty easy. What you would do is download the app, go through the steps, and then you go onto your CAC-enabled device. You know how they have a DS login for MyPay. There's a password for that. You use that same password for the DS login. For IPPS-A.
That'd be great. Yeah, I get into like va.gov and stuff like that without a CAC, or I can do it with a CAC.
There are going to be some limited functions in the app if you don't have either a government cell phone or a CAC-enabled extension, just for security matters. But like, for example, let's say someone wants to submit their leave form from their phone. They can draft it up, but they can't sign it from that. So they would still they can draft up whatever request they want to put in, and then whenever they get to work, it's just submit.
Oh, gotcha. So it's like you can't do the important stuff at home. You still have to go to work.
Yes, but you can see where it's at if it's already been submitted. You can look at that on the app.
So we've heard a lot of the good stuff about it. If all you ever talk about are the pros and the good stuff about it, somebody's blowing smoke someplace. So I know there's got to be something. What's the baddest the baddest Michael Jackson and what's going to be the hardest thing, or the cons?
Yeah, I think right now it's really getting everyone on board with it, and it's not so much like on the soldier as it is just on the implementation of it, because it's been delayed twice now. This morning they just announced it got delayed again to a to be determined date. Okay. So the uncertainty of it, a lot of people are questioning its functionality, and I mean rightfully so, because we're passing along the information that we're given, and then it's never mind, it's not going to be happening on this date.
We're going to be open someday. And what we just, keep trying to pass along is that right now the Guard and Reserves, they're both using it. They've been using it for 3-4 plus years now. So why is it so hard for the Army or active duty to get on board? I mean, it's the same thing, isn't it?
Yes, but it's just the sheer amount of time it takes to transfer all the data from all of these systems that we currently use over to IPPS-A. That's where they're running into the biggest issue. Also, the percentage of the training that people have right now in the system. So like Army-wide, I think the leader training is about 60 to 70% right now. Where like commanders and supervisors having their R3 leaders and HR professionals having their HR pro training. So I think all of those items coming together, like, okay, we're not ready.
We just make it mandatory. Mandatory training.
Right?
That's what they always did for me. It's like, nope, you have to go. I don't have time. You have to go. Mm-hmm. They're just like, okay.
It's also going to be a learning curve, I believe, because there's so many in the S1 HR realm. There's just so many different sections that soldiers will have to be learning. I mean, you got your awards, you have your promotions, you have your manning, your strength. I mean, it's going to be a learning curve for the whole Army component, I believe.
Well, I also imagine that a lot of people are just resistant to change. Mm-hmm. And it's like, well, we've been doing the paperwork this way for so long. Why change? And, civilians had that when with timesheets when we went to ATAPs. It used to be we would fill out a piece of paper or we'd have somebody do it all for us and everything was done. And then when we switched over and, you have to do it now yourself online, I was kind of resistant to it. Now it's like, this is nothing. And I'm done. It's a lot easier to do that.
Yeah, I think from the soldier, it's going to be a lot easier to use because the way the app is structured is it kind of seems like a social media app. Like there's even like a notification bar at the top right and stuff like that. But on the commander and the HR professional side, there's a lot of components to learn. Like, you know, it takes a while to understand all the current systems that we're using right now. And it's, you know, we're learning a whole new system.
Well, maybe if we put some old school stuff in there, like when you have a notification, you could put like an AOL notification. You have mail. It's not spam. So what about the what is it, the brownout cutover tasks? Mm-hmm. Exactly. What are those?
So the brownout, it's actually two sections. It's a two-part. BOCO is two parts: brownout and cutover. So brownout was when all the legacy systems were going to go offline. So that was your Milpo, your data store, your iPerms. And then the cutover were tasks that the S1s were going to have to implement, you know, get their workflows in place and their hierarchy structured, add members to their S1 pool. So it was actually two parts to brownout and cutover.
So were those, apparently those were delayed.
Yes, brownout was.
Yeah. So we still use all of the old websites and like 15 different websites where this one is just consolidating them all into one website and program, app, whatever. All of them. It's whatever you want to use. So you say the learning curve is one of the cons. It's so you have when this goes live eventually. September 20th? No. It's supposed to be September 20th. But so when this goes live, how bad is the learning curve going to be?
Honestly, I think it depends on the priority that the unit put it at. So if the unit has a training resource administrator, or probably at least two, they're the ones that will grant the credit in the system. Like let's say someone did their R3 leaders course somewhere outside of the IPPS-A system, like on YouTube, or they watched a video on S1Net, then that TRA is going to go in the system and grant them the credit for the training. And they're also supposed to be the subject matter experts for IPPS-A in their unit.
That's you.
And yeah, we are all TRAs. Yes.
Are you Tier A?
Yes.
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 Brand new, and you're already Tier A. I'm Tier full, so it's.
But it really depends on the level of priority the unit puts. I mean, I know some units, they've had like an hour sectioned off during their foundational training time to devote towards IPPS-A, and then there's other units where people are like, what is this? Wait, this is coming out? Like, what is this? And so I think it's honestly, I mean, it's just, it depends on the unit.
Gotcha.
And also the role as well. Each position is going to have a different role. Commander's going to have the commander's role. S1s are going to have the HR role, and then it goes up. You know, you have your past chiefs that grant people credit, so that's other training they have to take. So each role is a whole different platform in IPPS-A.
And how hard would it be for the user, the end user? Have you guys used it?
There's a demo site that you can go in there and do your training. It's like a training site that you can go in there and do a leave form or do a name change in the system, and it shows you how to go from the service member to the S1 to the commander, and everyone logs in as a different role, and it shows each step in the process. So it's pretty intuitive, and the hands-on training really helps the soldiers.
It's a very user-friendly platform.
Very user-friendly.
Yes, there's even like a little help thing at the top right that you can just search what you need, and it'll pop up with like a step-by-step how-to.
Well, it's like when I need to find something or learn how to do something, I'm just Googling it or YouTube. It's like, let's go to YouTube and see how I do this.
Mm-hmm.
And there also is a lot of videos on YouTube for IPPS-A, different roles, how to submit different actions. There's even the leaders training is on YouTube, the whole training.
So even with the learning curve being as steep as it might be for some people, there's still a lot of stuff out there, or a lot of ways that you can learn. I mean, you can read about it, or you can watch the videos and follow along. Each individual has their own learning style, and I guess that's what's going to be the contributing factor to how long it takes. It's just for me, it's repetition.
Right.
If I do it all the time, it's going to become second nature. And I mean, I've been doing stuff like this for a long time. The Air Force, we have something similar, and I'm sure it's probably changed by the time since I've gotten out. But what is R3? You said R3 earlier. R3 leaders.
Release 3.
Release 3.
Yeah. So this, since the Guard and Reserves have used it, that was release 1 and 2, and now we're on release 3, which is for active duty.
Oh, so
Yeah.
R3 leaders.
Our 3 leaders.
Or active duty Army.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. So we have to worry about we got to worry about acronyms and initialisms and stuff. It's
All
like
the acronyms.
yeah. It's like, when I was training people on those. It's like, well, military people find NBC to be different than civilians. NBC. It's like, oh, you really? No, you don't want NBC. Oh, how about CBS? No. So the HR, which is human resources, that's like the personnel office.
Yes.
We got the HR professionals for both military and civilians.
Yes.
Are that's like a lot of training for them. How long is their training?
It's 40 hours.
Oh, a whole week.
And then also they took it out, but it used to be another 16 hours of hands-on training. So it's 56 hours of training to have your HR pro completion.
And
Oh, wow.
that's for like the very basic HR professional level. If you are going to be a supervisor in an S1 shop, so let's say you're the floor NCO or the OIC or NCOIC, then there are other trainings you have to do as an HR supervisor. And then there's, if you're going to be dealing with casualty management, there's a whole separate R3 casualty management. There's a lot of different
So
courses
it's
out there.
the minimum is one
minimum is-
full work week of training. Then you go on top of that for specialized. That's
Correct.
Kind of like being a doctor. It's like, no, it's not only 40 hours. It's not only 4 years. You have to go for another 4 years. For credit for getting trained on this, you get credit for it. You were saying you get credit for it earlier, and the credit is for or towards what?
For you to have access to the system.
Just okay, so it's just strictly. It's not like college credits.
No.
Oh,
I wish it was. I'd be have a master's or something.
it's credit over at Mulligan or at the Forge. I'm old school. So we got the training resource administrators, and they have all kinds of training that's 30 more minutes of training that allows the HR professionals to grant credit. So.
Yes.
So this is like so many layers, but the good things that come out of it are outweigh anything that you might be weary of or not interested in trying to figure it out. This is the way to the future in getting all of that. And I would imagine that with all of these, you said medical records, or there was some.
Yeah, so you'd be able to see like your medical readiness. It'll feed
Medical
into
readiness.
the-
Okay, so it's not the medical records altogether.
No, that'll still remain on the new one, MHS Genesis.
Okay,
That'll still-
MHS Genesis.
Yes,
That's another show.
Another one.
Another podcast that we got. The so I mean this can help out a lot, especially as you are transitioning out of the Army. You'll have all of this paperwork. It'll help you write resumes just by experience alone, and whatever else. It's all going to be right there in one spot. So, and what is your MOS here?
I'm a 42.
Which is
It's adjutant general.
oh,
So basically means HR.
you're a lawyer. No, that's JAG.
That's a
isn't
J.
it? That's JAG.
JAG. It's just not the J, just the
Adjutant
AG.
General. So, and how did you get into this?
Like, how did I become AG?
No, how did you get into? Well, did they just come up and say, "Okay, you're the IPPS-A person now"?
So whenever I first got here at Fort Polk, that was whenever IPPS-A was first supposed to be coming out, the first release date that was announced. And I was working up at G1, like I had just gotten here, and so then they needed assistance on the IPPS-A team, so I was just a team leader on the IPPS-A team, and then IPPS-A announced that it got delayed. I went down to a battalion, did my S1 time, and IPPS-A's back. We don't know when, but it's going to be happening shortly. And so they brought me back up to G1.
Why does this remind me of the Game of Thrones? Winter is coming, and so are dragons. No, there will be dragons. I promise there will be dragons.
Yes.
Yeah.
And how, Sergeant Gonzalez, how'd you get into this?
It almost the same thing. IPPS-A became a hot topic again, and there was a spot open, and I was I already had my KD time at my battalion that I was at, so came up to the IPPS-A team and helped launch the IPPS-A.
So you're actually helping launch and everybody, and then we got the little newbie down here, Specialist Jackson. You just walk in and you said, "Oh, I want to be part of the IPPS-A."
No, I had brigade and battalion time, S1. So I came to G1, but my master sergeant said I had too much knowledge on EPS, which is awards, actions, and finance. So he told me that it would be a good NCO development for me to be able to put my foot in with IPPS-A and be able to learn, and then go to battalion and be able to teach my soldiers.
Nice. And how long have you guys been in? Well, I'm sure you've been in for a couple years at least.
16 years.
16 years. And Lieutenant, you've been in just for a couple. You haven't been here long, have you?
No, I have not. I'm about to hit my couple years.
Just a couple years.
Just a couple.
And I have a feeling you're going to stay in forever, aren't you, Specialist Jackson?
I don't know yet. Time will tell. I would say that.
Well, you've got all this experience under your belt. You're gonna shoot right up there, and you'll be right up there with.
Sorry, yeah.
So, it's from what you've seen of this, I imagine that you guys are pretty excited about it. Pretty, you can't. Well, I would imagine that you're getting anxious over it. It's like, come on, just release it already. So, and they don't tell you what their holdup is, do they?
Well, they did announce that it was the ability to transfer all the data over.
Oh,
I
okay.
think that was
So-
because the brownout was postponed. So they didn't have that time where all the other systems went down in order to transfer it over. So I think once they can actually get, a brownout and are able to do all the cutover tasks, then we'll be able to see a light at the end of the tunnel. And that would be IPPS-A's go live date.
Nice. And so, do you have any guesses? Are we going to start taking bets now on when it's going to be released?
Release 4.
Really? Well, they did say this morning, they said, don't expect for it to be very long of a postponement. So
okay.
I don't think it's going to be as long as this past postponement, which was a year. I don't think it'll be that long, but they definitely said they're keep updating the records, get your training done, because this isn't going to be very long.
So maybe by Christmas.
Maybe by Christmas.
I know the anxiety is high for the release of it, but if you think about it, soldiers' livelihoods on the line. We got their promotions, you got their finances. I mean, everything is in this system, so it has to be almost perfect before it releases. That's one of the thresholds that the IPPS-A team puts out. When it was first released, they wanted 94% completion rate where it was good to launch, and they had a 91% rate of completion, and they didn't launch it because it wasn't at that 94% threshold. So I mean, imagine you come into work one day and you're a private or you're getting E1 pay or something.
No!
That would really hurt. If soldiers deployed and losing that tax-free money, it's just going to hurt somebody's pocket. So it has to be near perfect before it releases. So I understand people are anxious for it, but we got to think about the other side too. Yeah,
that's that's a pretty high threshold. I mean, 91% to me is an A. But,
Yeah.
But 94 is more of an A. It's A-er. So in the future for one, I guess it's after it goes live and everything's running and stuff. What kind of training are you looking at for, let's say, the HR professional? Now, are the HR professionals going to be in each unit, or is that an MOS?
Yeah, so anyone who currently is in S1 shops, so that's your entire 42 series, 42 alphas and bravos, they are going to be the HR professionals in that unit.
Okay.
So anyone that's currently in the S1 shop, that'll be your HR professionals.
And how much of their training, or what are they going to do for training once this goes live and stuff like that?
So hopefully they already have gotten and completed their training. But the schoolhouse did say that they're going to start having soldiers at AIT complete their training before leaving so that they get to units and they're already.
Oh, that would be nice.
Yes.
It's like, welcome to the unit, get to work.
Right, it's like, here's this additional week where you're going to have to do all your training.
Now, you said the cutover is when, okay, so the brownout is transferring everything over, and the cutover is when they stop all the other websites and say, now you have to use IPPS-A.
The cutover is the tasks that have to be completed in order for go live to happen.
Okay, so that's, okay.
You know, that identifying who your S1 pool members are and building your workflows and critical tasks such as that.
Now, what kind of support is going to be available for the cutover tasks?
G1 is offering. Well, we were going to offer a over-the-shoulder support, but the system wasn't working. But we always have that available, and we are also going to give training on Thursdays for sergeant science training from 09 to 12 at different locations to be determined. But it's basically hands-on training where soldiers can go in there in the system, and we'll have an example of run a name change or do a PAR, on behalf of your soldier, or a leave form. So they have that hands-on training. They can log in as a commander, so they see all aspects of the workflow.
Nice. And so you've said you've worked in the system, although it's it's a mock system, but it's still working the way it would when it was live. What was one of the quickest tasks that you noticed going through that usually took more time before it?
A name change. The name change went through so quick because a marriage certificate. If you think of a marriage certificate, or a soldier gets married, they have to visit the S1 shop. They have to visit Deere's office. They have to visit so many
Social Security.
Finance. All these offices, and they had to be visited. And hopefully, none of these offices drop the ball on the paperwork or gets lost somewhere. That could take a long time. But when we did the marriage and name change in the system, it was fast. As soon as the soldier submitted it with the supporting documents, it went up to S1. S1 said, "Oh, it's a marriage PAR." We submitted it to the right workflow. Commander got it, approved it, and after that, it went to the soldiers. The name change was on the soldier's record, and then it went to finance. So it was pretty fast.
Pretty quick. So that's nice. How about what was the one that stood out for you?
I mean, for me, I would say is probably the absence request. Just how expedited a leave form can go through the entire chain. Especially whenever someone's taking leave and it's in a short time crunch. Normally, as the S1 personnel, at that point, we're running a paper around the battalion,
trying sneaker net.
Yes, trying to catch the signatures, but the ease and quickness of doing it in the system.
So how many signatures do you usually need for a leave form?
Just two.
Just two,
Just
okay.
two. You still got to run around.
And they're usually on the other side of the buildings. What about you?
I do agree with the name change, but I would think that naturalization packets or anything that would be expedited are very important to soldiers, such as like marriage or compassionate reassignments or early reporting. It will be faster, and you won't have to sit there and wait 2 months for a CG signature when you can wait approximately about a week for it.
Nice. It does sound like it's when it goes live and when they get all the bugs out of it and they got all the records pushed over to it, I'm sure it'll be a lot more convenient, especially with all in one spot, or you could just click here and click there. And an example of some of the main things that you'll be able to do through IPPS-A. Yeah. What about that'd be integrated personnel. So what about dream sheets? Can you do dream sheets in there?
Dream sheets?
You never heard of a dream sheet?
No.
That's where you list all of the assignments that you would like to go to.
Oh, okay.
And then they look at it and say, you're dreaming.
That one is still going to be using the Ames Marketplace for officers.
Okay, so
And
that's
then,
different.
For enlists, it's Ask Them. So those systems are still going to be used for assignments and PCS items, but you can still see everything in IPPS-A. I think I wanted to mention as well is like your med pros, all the information that's on med pros and your training, your DTMS, it's going to feed IPPS-A, and it's going to be running on a constant update. So once a soldier goes to the range and shoots, he can wait a day or two, and it'll be on IPPS-A. He'll be able to see it. He or she won't have to go into DTMS and get that information.
Nice. So you'll know if you get your marksmanship.
Yeah. Marksmanship or expert.
Yeah. So, what are some of the main things that you'll be able to see? Like the top thing let's give the top three things that you think will be the best thing coming out of here.
I would say right now, to do your DD93, you still have to go into the S1 shop. That's your emergency data form.
Oh.
So changing your like emergency contacts. Right now, you have to do that with the S1 in the system emailpo. But now, similar to SGLVs, you are going to be able to do that on your own in the IPPS-A site. So to do SGLVs and DD93s, that's like an annual thing you have to update. And that's kind of normally where a lot of units are read on. There are a lot of people that need to update those. Well, now you can update it on your phone. So
that's nice. Is that did you say SGLV? The group life insurance?
Correct.
Yeah, that's important.
Right.
You have $400,000 going to your ex-wife. It's like, oh man. How about you? What would you say the top things that you're thinking is going to be best about this?
I think transparency. That's what I'm saying. Transparency. When I was in the battalion S1 NCOIC, I would come in from lunch and I would see a line of soldiers outside the S1 door, and I'd be like, what's going on? Oh, I'm just checking on leave form. I'm checking on my 4187. Just seeing where it was at. And now, the soldier can go on their phone and see exactly where it's at. It's with the commander. It's at brigade already. So I think that's going to be the number one.
But now the soldiers won't have any place to like stand in line. Sorry, I can't do that for you. I'm standing in line. You're taking it away from them. How about Jackson over here? What do you think's the best thing that's going to come out of this?
I would say organization. Just basically like everything being organized and going through a certain place and just going through like a time managing like position. Like it's just this need to take maybe a week. This need to take 3 days instead of it taking someone losing the paperwork or finance losing the paperwork and the soldier's not getting paid for 6 months. And it's like,
oh God, that would suck. Oh, this is great. This is some great stuff here. We got the integrated personnel and pay system for the Army. And it's R3 because it's the third incantation of this, incarnation of this for active duty. And we're going to be able to go in and, well, we, as in the royal we, be able to go in and do all the paperwork that normally would go through the S1, which is admin, the admin shop, or adjutant general. So no more having to go over to the adjutant general to get your stuff ready to go. Well, I appreciate Lieutenant Flores, Sergeant Gonzalez, and Specialist Jackson for coming in. Is there anything else that we might have missed that you'd like to get out there about IPPS-A, or anything else?
Take your training.
Take the training, please. 40 hours for everybody, or?
No, 40 hours for HR pros, 1 hour for leaders, and then self-service for all soldiers, and that's optional but recommended.
Oh, I highly recommend it. It's like, I'll just work around in here and see if I could figure it out.
Accidentally submit something super.
It's like, oops.
A demotion. Submit a demotion for yourself. You can actually do that. When we're doing the training, we saw that you can submit a demotion.
Oh, no.
On behalf of yourself, yeah.
For yourself.
I can't take this. I'm not fit for this.
I don't want the responsibility. It's like, can I get the responsibility demoted and the pay increased? That'd be much nicer. But anyways, I'd like to thank you very much for coming on in.
Yes, thank you for having us.
And I'm sure we'll hear from y'all again, hopefully. And hopefully get everybody else out and get their IPPS-A as soon as it goes live, and we'll keep you updated on when it's released, when it's going to release. So be sure to check out the Guardian, the website, and go visit Lieutenant Flores over at the Adjutant General. I'm Jeff England, and this is the Fort Polk Podcast. Thanks for tuning in, and we will be listening at you later.